a Halloween thriller, a time-traveling romance set in San Diego, plus a sci-fi novel adapted for the screen. Kelli Gillespie is joining us here with so many movies hitting the theaters. You had a lot to talk about. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Well, Jamie Lee Curtis, she talks about her next chapter in the Halloween trilogy, and Hamilton star Leslie Odom Jr. says going back in time might not be for him, but his new film, Needle in a Haystack, it's set in La Jolla. So, of course, we had to talk about featuring the beach city, plus Frank Herbert's sci-fi novel Dune. It's brought to life with an incredible cast. We're talking Timothy Chalamet, Josh Brolin, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson. The list goes on.
He's coming for me, but I'm coming for him.
40 years after the original Halloween, you star in the remake, and it was so successful that here we are talking about Halloween Kills, which is part of a trilogy. So maybe talk to me a little bit about what it means to be the face of Halloween.
In 1978, I was 19 years old. No one had an idea that it was going to be anything. I was so thrilled to have a part that actually was a complete part. It felt real. Never in a million years did I mean, not even for a second did I ever assume that we would still be telling her story 43 years later, that I would still get to play her. It's just thrilling for me, honestly. The way these movies are terrifying and brutal and thrilling and exciting, I have that same feeling.
We see a handful of familiar faces from the 78 original.
We would explore the town of Haddonfield's trauma, and his idea was to bring back Lindsay and Tommy and Marion and Sheriff Brackett and Hawkins. This is such a brilliant idea because, of course, the town is terrorized, not just Laurie. And I think it's a movie about that sort of collateral damage.
You have any time for fun?
Well, like when we were younger, the La Jolla days, that's for sure.
Lonely at the top, huh?
I fully agree with you that La Jolla is the best city.
It is a great place. I've been through there. It's a wonderful community, but there's something that's very specific when you hear La Jolla. There's something very specific to those characters, and it's a specificity of detail I didn't want to change. I love the short story. I was going to change nothing if I didn't have to.
Time jaunt. Would I do it? Where would I go? When? I mean, Leslie, 1776. Would you go spend time with Aaron?
No. You know, the tricky thing about time jaunting for Black folks is, like, you know, they're as difficult and as trying as our present moment can be. You know, there's not a whole lot of, you know, points in American history anyway, you know, that I would choose to go back to. But sure, you know, would I like to go back and meet my great grandfather or my great grandmother, something like that? You know, that might be nice.
Dreams make good stories, but everything important happens when we're awake.
Timothy, with Paul, you know, he's the chosen one, and we see that he has to face his fears, overcome them in order to become the man that he needs to be.
The experience of getting to do this, the challenge of it, the anticipation of it, and the feeling of a huge responsibility to not let all the, you know, fans of the book that have had a close connection with the material since it came out over, you know, almost 70 years ago or something. That was the biggest responsibility, including Denis, who had a special connection to it from its youth. So that fear was very much alive and present.
You conveyed so much through your body language. You can tell that she has this mental journey that's going on.
You know, can I say, I'm so happy you said that. It reminds me of Denis and I. There's a scene where everyone's gathered together. It's a welcoming ceremony, and I think Javier Bardem is walking in, and my character doesn't say anything. And I was like, how boring. What am I going to do? Like a teenager. And I was like, I'll just stand there. He was like, you don't just stand there. You sense and feel. I was like, okay, fine. The way that she reads the room, the way that she has to communicate without communicating. Challenging, very challenging.
Well, Dune looks pretty epic, but I really want to talk about the local connection. I love when a movie is talking about La Jolla.
It's so fun. I agree. It's so neat when you see the big stars talking about things that you know that are tangible. And of course, who wouldn't love all their favorite parts were set in La Jolla. And so that's what they talked about as those La Jolla days. And we fondly know those La Jolla days too.
Yeah, we can enjoy the La Jolla days as well, just like the stars. Kelli, thank you so much. Good to see you this morning.
Thank you.